Last time we left off here, Breakdown joined the Autobots due to the Decepticons actually abandoning him there to die. And so, through the course of the remaining, well, I guess you could say the fewer episodes of Season 1 here, we actually saw Breakdown actually become part of the Autobot team. However, in doing so, this led to Megatron summoning the Combaticons. And so, this led to the Autobots having a much harder time on Earth than they originally anticipated. Breakdown also was able to help Bulkhead in the TMI episode against Swindle and Brawl, actually becoming better friends with Bulkhead and Miko. However, Knockout later joined the team as well, due to the fact that when Breakdown was convincing him, Megatron snuck behind Knockout and stabbed him through the back. And so, now Knockout and Breakdown are both a part of the Autobot team. Now, we continue our story with the One Shall Stand saga here, where Breakdown actually is overseeing Knockout's recovery, considering Megatron stabbed the dude through the back here. During this time here, Ratchet is making sure that Knockout is stabilized, and considering the sheer fact that they still have the synthetic energon formula, they're able to at least replicate a decent portion that does not have the aggression, meaning that Knockout will be stronger and faster, but again, he is still in a critical state here. With that being said here, most of the first half of the One Shall Stand stuff actually does happen here, where we have Optimus and Bulkhead actually do go to steal the Decepticon hyperdrive, just like in the original. And this is where Raph also is still put in critical condition, causing Optimus to, well, just like in the original, go and challenge Megatron. However, I would like to add one thing here. He doesn't contact Megatron through a Viacon here. Optimus storms the head of the ship here. Considering that this is an Optimus not holding back, he overpowers the Combaticons, overpowers Arachnid, and jumps over a space bridge and slams himself into Soundwave. This is where he uses Soundwave to communicate with Megatron, telling him to give him the coordinates, or basically, again, challenging Megatron here. And so, just like in the original timeline, Optimus goes to fight Megatron here. The reason why I had him storming the Decepticon, warship, or storming the head of the warship here, is because it feels like something that a more bloodlusted, non-holding back Optimus would do here. Yes, he would spare them, but again, he means business. And I think that would be a good portrayal of him standing on business. So, we get the original fight, where, again, back at the Autobot base, they're lecturing Bulkhead on letting Optimus go and fight Megatron alone here. However, Breakdown actually backs up Bulkhead on this one, saying that if anyone should be able to kill Megatron, it should be Optimus, right? I mean, what's to stop him here? So, with that being said here, Optimus and Megatron duke it out. This time, Optimus has a bit more, I want to say, aggression towards this fight here. He means to kill Megatron, and he means to kill him right then and there. To which everything happens pretty much the same here. Optimus overpowers Megatron, except I'll probably have it to be a bit more brutal. He's about to take his head off. But Megatron gets a boost from the Dark Energon around him and overpowers him. And so, when the space bridge opens in front of him, it isn't Bulkhead that sends him flying, it's Breakdown. Breakdown, with his hammer, smacks Megatron clean in the face, getting 2 solid hits in before, well, Megatron simply grabs his hammer like he did Bulkhead and overpowers him easily. However, Breakdown wants to continue to fight, but this is where RC and Bulkhead tell him, no, we need to get Optimus out of here now. However, Breakdown, instead of actually running, he actually pulls out his shoulder cannon and blasts Megatron, sending him back before transforming to his vehicle mode and jumping through the portal just in the nick of time. Kind of added that in there to be like, this is for Knockout or something like that there. And, well, you have that. To which Megatron would actually be laughing and stuff here, and then call the Decepticon ground ship, or Decepticon warship, excuse me, to actually come and get this Dark Energon. The next part of One Shall Fall Part 2, or One Shall Stand Part 2, I definitely gotta look at the title once again, pretty much goes the same, except Optimus takes Breakdown with him when he's investigating the disturbance of the earthquakes, and then we have Breakdown tag teaming with Optimus in order to defeat some of these constellation or rock avatars of Unicron, to which the other Autobots then eventually join in, and they all guard Optimus here. To which we actually see Bulkhead and Breakdown having a competition to see how many Unicron avatars they can destroy, and then who could kill them the coolest here, and saying that they're going to take pics and definitely send them back to Miko to see who, killed them the coolest, right? So we would have that little bit of banter here, but then the giant Unicron avatar, pops out the ground, and then Optimus is at his mercy. But then lo and behold, who comes and saves the day? Megatron. And as usual, Megatron offers them an alliance. Breakdown, obviously not wanting to go for this, tells him no way, even drawing both his hammers and getting ready to smack Megatron upside the head with him. However, Optimus stops him and tells him no, they're gonna need him here. To which another Unicron avatar pops out the ground, and well, Optimus and the Autobots leave while Megatron goes on to hold it off like an absolute boss. I mean, Jesus Christ, the fact that he transformed and then just punched one into just wonderful. So back at the base here, before they actually tell Megatron that they're going to accept his deal here, Breakdown and Optimus have a one-on-one. They have a heart-to-heart, or spark-to-spark, if you will, to where Breakdown says he's not willing to let Megatron in the base or even near knockout, considering the stuff he did. Optimus says yes, while again he is aware of all the things Megatron has done. He's known him for years here. However, Optimus notes one thing. They do not have a way to really access through Unicron's defenses without him, which Breakdown says they could just smash through it. They could just, pulverize it and hope for the best here. However, Optimus puts a hand on the shoulder and says, sometimes we have to make harder choices, or sometimes hard choices have to be made for the greater good. To which Breakdown, albeit reluctant and a bit angry, agrees. To which the rest of the One Shall Stand saga begins to play out. Megatron goes into the base. He pretty much, walks in all intimidating stuff like he owns the entire thing. To which we gotta admit, we gotta love Megatron's boss walk. I'm just saying. And we do have a moment where Knockout, a recovering Knockout here, does see Megatron, and he does cower in fear. To which Megatron says, don't worry, he's not going to exterminate these two traitors today. To which, again, Breakdown gets aggressive, and Bulkhead actually has to stop him, telling him that, look, not yet. Not just yet. And this is where everything goes the same. However, when they go into Unicron, obviously Bulkhead starts to feel the side effects of the Dark Energon. And to which I would actually have all of them feel the effects of the Dark Energon except Optimus and Megatron here. By the way, the Autobots that went with him are Bulkhead, Breakdown, RC, and Bumblebee. So, yeah, just some extra stuff just for your thought there. So, with that being said here, everything goes on along the same here. Except when Bulkhead falls here, it isn't it isn't Optimus that pulls him up when Bumblebee drops him. It's Breakdown. Again, showing the progress that Breakdown has went through since he's been here. And he pulls up Bulkhead, telling him that they need to get to a much more stable platform. And so, when fighting against the Unicron antibodies, they are able to make their way to a much more stable platform. And this is where Bulkhead gives the call to, well, hold their ground and says this is for Optimus. And so, everything plays out just like it did in canon. Except when Unicron's defenses are finally brought down and he's in this eternal stasis lock, here's what actually happens here. When Optimus utilizes the Matrix, it uses so much power that it makes him forget who he is. To which Megatron takes advantage of this. You might say, okay, so just like the, in Transformers Prime, right? No. You see, the way Transformers Prime did it, which again disturbed it and pretty much messed up the Align continuity even more, was that they said Orion Pax just wasn't conscious or, was entirely changed when he got the Matrix. No. We're not going to have that here. Here's what we're going to do. Just to keep it, again, in with Fall of Cybertron and the Align, or make the Align continuity a bit more linear. The Matrix, in order to defeat Unicron, utilizes so much power that, again, it does take away something from Optimus, and that is the memory of who he is. From him being an Orion Pax, to all the way to him getting the name of Optimus Prime by the High Council. So, with that being said here, Megatron takes advantage of this, and again tells him that he's one of his former clerks, one of his greatest archivists, and he's been looking for him for years. However, as the Autobots bust through, they shout Optimus, and Orion looks around like, huh? Who that? To which Megatron tells them, just like in the original, their sworn enemy, and dips. To which, here's another change in the timeline. Arachnid does not propose to abandon and leave Megatron in this timeline. Now you might say, wait a minute, why wouldn't she do that? And here's the thing, right? She's surrounded by Soundwave and the Combaticons who are loyal to Megatron. When in the original continuity, you could say that Knockout and Breakdown are intimidated by her. The Combaticons would not be intimidated by her. So Arachnid stays with the Decepticons a lot longer until she finds herself a much more fortuitous opportunity here. To which, again, Megatron brings Orion Pax back there, and, well, he tells Brawl, who's going to charge at him, to stand down, as that is no way to treat a long-lost friend. To which everything plays out just the same here, except obviously some key replacements here. Instead of having, Breakdown and Knockout retrieve something from Megatron, it's actually Onslaught and Vortex that actually retrieve it instead. So that way everything goes the same, except Knockout's fully recovered now and is capable of being out in the field again. To which it's him and Breakdown that actually go to meet and patch up Starscream, to which they offer Starscream a chance to join the Autobots. But again, Starscream declines here. However, he is considering it, considering the sheer fact that, again, he and Knockout were pretty good friends on the Decepticon team here. Now, sure, he wouldn't save him from Megatron's punishment and everything, but seeing as how Breakdown and him have changed with the Autobots, Starscream says he will consider it at a later date. To which Starscream goes on to find the space bridge, and they go to Vector Sigma. However, here's the change here. This time, when RC goes to Cybertron, she's not alone. When she does, she sees that there's a battle taking place. And again, she didn't expect this here. She sees five Decepticons laying fire against one Autobot. And she recognizes him and says, Jazz? To which Jazz immediately rushes to cover RC and blasts 2 heat-seeking missiles out of the air. To which he tells her, you shouldn't be here. Wait a minute, what are you doing here? And RC pretty much states that she's here to retrieve Optimus's memories from Vector Sigma. To which he says, wait, Optimus? But again, he has to move through another set of heat-seeking missiles and then blasts the Decepticon, firing at him. To which he says, okay, he'll go with her. But right now, he's got to take care of this here. To which RC nods and actually, obviously introduces Jack and stuff here. But again, she has to take Jack and, well, she dips. However, this is where the Decepticon states that don't let him get away. And this is where we see a yellow car and a white car. Well, kind of like a dark creamish car. Both transform and chase RC. However, Jazz, not allowing this, uses his sonic blast. Again, like in Robots in Disguise, we are going to keep those. That is a trademark of his. Actually uses it to basically blast him off course and gives RC more time to get away here. To which he says, you two aren't going anywhere, and proceeds to blast him. This is where a dark car and a more crimson-like car jumps in to try and jump Jazz along with a massive truck, to which Jazz begins to not only dismantle but disable all of them and calls out their names: Motormaster, Heatseeker, Drag Strip, and Slash Mark, to which Jazz tells him they're not going anywhere anytime soon, and he points his cannon at them, ready to fire upon them if they so hope to move here. However, this is where he sees the ground bridge still open, and this is where Motormaster also sees this and says that it'd be a shame if the 5 of them just happen to leave through the bridge here. But again, Jazz is in a bit of a pickle. They're close to that bridge, and well, they could leave through it at any moment. But if he moves, that leaves RC vulnerable. Speaking of RC, she still goes through her whole round with the Insecticon, except due to RC being a bit more desperate now, due to the sheer fact that there are, 5 Decepticons and that Jazz is likely holding them all by himself here, she basically tears through the Insecticon. She's a lot more focused, a lot more committed to it, and she does wind up beating the Insecticon, albeit with some high difficulty and a well-placed scraplet thrown down the Insecticon's throat. I know, graphic, but look, I had to think of something here. So, with that being said here, she's able to accompany Jack to Vector Sigma and hold off the scraplets long enough for Jack to get Optimus's memories and leave. But as they're leaving, let's go back to the Autobots. Megatron arrives just like the original, and he fights against Ratchet, Knockout, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and Breakdown, to which the number of Autobots doesn't really make up too much for it, but Bulkhead and Breakdown are able to hold him off a bit longer than the original continuity, considering, again, adding some extra muscle does help here. But again, eventually Megatron is able to use his superior skill to beat them, to which he then waits for RC. And as RC arrives, she actually stands alongside Jazz here, who's by himself, to which she looks at him and wonders, where are the other 5? To which those 5 were called the Stunticons, I guess you could say a Black Ops group of Decepticons, if you will. And to which RC looks in horror at that revelation and says, did they go through the bridge? No. He kept them from the bridge, but in doing so, he had them let them go to the Tomb of the Primes, to which RC wonders what they're looking for, and he says he doesn't know, but it can't be good. So, right then and there, RC tries to contact the rest of her team here. However, nothing. And again, nothing. She contacts each and every one of them and hears nothing from them. So, with that being said here, she then contacts Knockout, asking what's going on. Knockout's still at the base, by the way, because again, he is more of a reserved member. Plus, this gives somebody to access the ground bridge and stuff just in case they need any evacuation. And so, Knockout tells her that he hasn't been in contact with them since they said Megatron's coming himself here, or Megatron arrived himself. To which RC and Jazz both hear this on the intercom, and well, Jazz says he's got it. And he kind of says it a little casually, to which RC says, are you nuts? That's Megatron. And he says, yeah. So Jazz turns into a Cybertronian vehicle mode and, well, goes through the portal with RC trailing along behind him. And as Megatron waits with his blade in hand, ready to end the line of the Primes, a sonic blast comes through the Space Bridge portal and sends Megatron flying across the platform here. And out, walking with a smooth and stylish fashion that would give any girl to throw their panties at him, Jazz enters the platform and tells Megatron that he's been waiting for a shot at him. And this is where they both circle each other. Megatron, recognizing Jazz here, says that Prime's right-hand man, it'll be fitting to finally kill you. To which Jazz says he's been waiting for a long time to fight Megatron, and says that promise he won't go down too easy. He wants this to last. Into which Megatron says, "Oh, don't worry. The only thing that'll last will be your suffering." And so the two engage in a hand-to-hand fight here. Megatron tried to utilizing his sword, while Jazz actually utilizes a martial arts form known to very few Cybertronians, Metallico. Metallico is a Cybertronian martial arts to make up for massive amounts of strength differences between Cybertronian classes here. For example, characters like Ultra Magnus can actually use forms like Diffusion to beat characters like Six Shot. There are even times where Metallico has allowed characters like Bludgeon to overcome Dinobots. So, imagine someone as calm, cool, and collected as Jazz using this. And again, considering Transformers Animated did have him go through his Cyber Ninja training and complete it, which is basically a form of Metallico anyway, this means that Jazz would honestly be going back to some old roots here. And so with that being said here, I would actually have the fight demonstrate the difference between two fighting styles. Megatron using excuse me, his gladiatorial form here, while Jazz utilizing a much more ninja, athletic, and much more skillful form in Metallico. The two will go back and forth, demonstrating their fighting styles here. And this is where I would actually have Jazz get a slight upper hand because, again, Megatron has never fought someone as skilled like this before. And this is where Jazz not only outmaneuvers Megatron, but uses his grappling hook to trip Megatron over, or pretty much to grab Megatron by the foot, right? Flip him into the air, and then spin kicks him into the wall here. I know, embarrassing, but still, you know, this is Prime's right-hand man for a proper reason here. And this is where I would have Orion arrive just like in the original. Obviously, he decoded the Iacon databases or whatever here, but again, he always felt like something was wrong with him, that he didn't belong there on the Decepticon warship. And yet, they kept trying to hide stuff from him, and he never knew why. Anyway, everything happens a little bit differently here. With RC and Jack being there, with Jazz holding off Megatron, he's able to get all of his memories back. From his Orion packs to him receiving the Matrix from Primus alongside Ironhide and Warpath. He gets it all back. And Megatron manages to finally smack away Jazz. However, Jazz is able to flip in the mid-air, mind you, and catch himself while Megatron tries to rush at him. Jazz fires off a Sonic Blast, which pretty much slows Megatron down and does hurt him here, but Megatron tries to power through it and slam his sword down on Optimus, who, just like in the original, catches it and tells Megatron, "Be gone, thought," and proceeds to wail on Megatron fiercely, to which Jazz jumps in and they actually begin to coordinate and tag team him just like in the old days. Or pretty much tag team any Decepticon like in the old days here. Because, I mean, it's Jazz's first experience doing it with on Megatron. So, it is what it is here. To which, everything goes pretty much the same here. However, RC has to shield Jack from a blast to the back. And this is where Motor Master and the rest of his Stunticons come out here. To which Jazz immediately stops fighting with Optimus and goes to check on RC, pretty much putting himself in front of Motor Master. To which he tells him, "Go back through the portal now." And to which Motor Master says, "Oh, Jazz, you've caused us so many trouble for years, or so much trouble for so many years, just to get us what we rightfully deserve. Absolution and ascension." To which Motor Master then has all the other Autobots looking confused. But when he sees Breakdown, he says, "Oh, Breakdown, been a while." And this is where Wildbreak says, "So you're wearing the Autobot symbol now? Jeez, you fold quickly." And, you know, they taunt Breakdown, and this is where Knockout opens a portal telling them get out of there now. Their energy signatures look vastly different than what he usually would remember them to be. They're on the same energy signature as the Combaticons. And Jazz optics widen, and he says to Motor Master, "You didn't." And this is where Motor Master opens his chest and shows the enigma of combination within him here. Into which he says, "Stunticons combine." And in horror, the Autobots and Megatron look as Menasor is formed here, and he takes out his newest weapon, his Stormblade. The skies feel crackling with electricity and lightning. The storm clouds and pretty much just, flat out hurricanes and tornadoes and that type of stuff here simply forms here. And Megatron laughs, telling his Stunticons to destroy the Autobots. However, this is where they pull out another weapon, their storm cannon, and they blast Megatron, to which it has him in shock, saying, "What are you doing?" And to which they say they serve no one. With the space bridge or the ground bridge, the Autobot base still open, the Autobots take their time to leave, to which Jazz chooses to stay and fight against Menasor. However, Optimus grabs his friend, his best friend, mind you, and tells him this is not the time to be brave. They need to be smart and leave now. To which Jazz shrugs off Optimus and tells him that this is his fault. This is all his fault. He should have stopped them when he had the chance. He should have terminated them. He needs to make this right. But again, Optimus grabs him and tells him this is not the time for this situation. They are not prepared to fight him. And to which Jazz reluctantly, after narrowly dodging a sword swing from Menasor, transforms with Optimus, and they both leave through their ground bridge, while Megatron flies off injured back to the Decepticons, with Menasor holding his sword to the sky, crackling with electricity, kind of like Thor from Marvel, but you guys understand here. And he tells them that this planet will be his and his alone. And that's where we're going to leave it off here today, you guys. The Autobots get a new recruit, the Decepticons now have a new enemy, and the Stunticons arrive on Earth to terminate everyone. And so, that's where we're going to leave it off here today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.